back, everybody. The cat is going to go, and she has gone abracadabra. So we welcome everybody back. It is July the 29th, 2023, and it's another new guitar day. And this one comes with a pretty good story. And who doesn't love a good story with a guitar? I'll make it short because I don't want to drive you crazy. There's a lot of tape on this guitar, so we're going to have to do a lot of tape removal. But anyways, the story on this guitar is, this is the somewhat elusive IYV IRK 300. This is a simulation of a Rickenbacker guitar. And I say simulation because for the price, obviously, Rickenbackers are handmade, crafted, and no dig against IYV. But again, this is a mass-produced budget guitar, so we have no expectations that this in any way will compete with a true Rickenbacker. But it looks like it, somewhat. And yeah, and these have been out for a while, but I've never seen one videotaped. So, you can already see that it looks pretty good. Now there's a change of pace. Instead of the classic smash down neck brace, they use cardboard, which seems to have survived. So without further ado, let's go ahead and pop off the shroud and behold the guitar. I'm going to take a tiny break to weigh it because I'm curious. I'm going to say it's going to be just a little under 8 pounds. That's going to be my guess. Doesn't feel like it's quite 8 pounds. Feels like it'll be in the 7 pound something category. Now, I don't know how Amazon does their shipping, but this one ended up in a place called Goodyear, Arizona, and it was 116 degrees when it shipped. Okay, so the initial, a little bit of a wingding there. I guess the things that really matter is up here where the neck pocket looks good. You never know what you're going to see down the road as you look at these. This may be 8 pounds. Threadings feel good. The neck visually looks like it was cut well. Yeah, it's a pretty guitar. We'll have some more comments about it in a minute. It looks like you seem to have a hard time getting their tailpieces straight. This one doesn't look overly crooked, but it looks like it could be straighter. The strings are freaking corroded. So that's worth noting. Action looks like it's okay. Yeah, so let me weigh it here real quick. Or remind me not to get a job at the carnival guessing weights. The initial weight says 6.4. I don't think that's correct. So I'm going to weigh it again. So be patient with me here. So yes, it does come in at about 6 pounds. It doesn't feel like that to me. It feels like it's about 7.5 to 8 pounds. So I don't know, my scale suddenly went wacky. Anyways, it's a beautiful guitar. We'll talk about it when we come back. I'm going to go plug it in and we'll... Okay, we are back. Again, it is July the 29th, 2023. This is an IYV IRK 300 in 3, I guess they call it 3TS, which is 3-tone sunburst. You can see it goes from the black to the red to the amber. It's a very nice guitar. Now, of course, I wouldn't fool anybody by saying that a guitar that cost $180 is going to sound like a $2,000 Rickenbacker, because it's not. But considering what it is and what it costs, it's a really nice guitar. And I'll go over a few of the reasons why I think it's a really nice guitar. Again, I purchased in the last July, going back to about January, even maybe December, probably 7, 8, 9, 10 IYV guitars. Every once in a while you get a funky one. The ones to watch out for that you have to be careful are the IJZ 300s. That's the hollow body jazz guitars. They have a few more features on them. They've got the double binding on the headstock, binding on the neck. They seem to have more problems. If you go on Amazon, as of today, they've got 13 used ones for sale, so that tells you that quite a few of them come back. If you get a good one, it's a nice guitar. I ended up with one that was a keeper for me, and I was happy with it, but I bought a few other ones that went back because they were not up to snuff. And again, Amazon doesn't want to work with you anymore. They're just too bad, so sad. We'd rather you ship it back, so that's their problem. What's interesting is if you go on, right now they only have the left-handed model available for pre-order, but the picture they show is not this guitar. I don't know anything about the subtleties. I think this is sort of an approximation of a Rickenbacker 330. I could be wrong. I don't know much about Rickenbackers. I've only played one in my entire life, and it was an authentic Rickenbacker, the 12-string, and I found the neck too thin. The strings were so close together, it was just really difficult for me. Many Rickenbacker players will tell you it's an acquired taste. Once you get used to it, they're beautiful guitars, and I'm not one to argue about that at all. But again, if you're looking for lack of a better word, a tribute, a simulation, a copy, this guitar looks great. And again, IYV, pays attention to the right things. I mean, again, in a day or two, might find a flaw or two on this guitar. A few very, 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 very minor finish flaws on the back. Black, it's really easy to see. You can see the seam of the different pieces of wood. Not a big deal, but the neck to the body joint is really nice. The fret ends, I have yet to get an IYV guitar that had any sharpness on the fret ends at all, so they do that correctly. I didn't find any high frets on this guitar. I haven't taken a rocker to it, but just by playing it and bending notes, nothing chokes out thus far. I don't play much above the 12th fret, so I need to examine there. Sometimes there's problems there. The nut is cut really well. How I determine how well a nut is cut is not only the visual, which visually it looks fine, but if you play cowboy chords and they don't stay in tune, that's usually a good indicator that you have an issue with your nut and everything works fine. Of all the IYV guitars that I've gotten thus far, the tuners on this are really nice. And there's just your generic, cheap tuners. But they're very smooth. There's no flat spots. They don't jump. I stretched the strings once, tuned it up, played for a half hour, gave it a minor tune-up again. It holds its tune really well. I do think the weak spot on this guitar is the strings. They were really funky. But as often the case, when you start playing it, the funk comes off on your fingers and suddenly they felt a lot better. I mean, they were like really sort of sticky. And now they feel really smooth. So I've apparently lifted the funk off with my fingers. Eventually we'll get some new strings on it. The controls work fine. Switch, nice and quiet, firm. Volume and tone control do what they're supposed to do. I may have mentioned earlier, and if I did, forgive me, when you get older you start mentioning things more often. Just be glad you're not my wife. She has to hear them over and over again. You have the luxury, if you want, you can turn the volume down, you can hit fast forward, you can hit the stop button if you want. But the picture that they have on Amazon at the moment, which is today, July the 29th, 2023, is not this guitar. And again, I don't know anything about the variations of Rickenbacker guitars, but it's not this guitar. And actually, I'm glad I got this version. I like the aesthetics of this version better than the one that they have online. It's also not the same paint scheme. The one online is much more red. The one online has sunburst on the back, has sunburst on the neck. I could care less about that, but again, just for truth in advertising and accuracy, they should put a picture up that represents the guitar that you're going to get, because you may have your heart set on that body style, and if you do, you're going to be disappointed with this one. So I called them today and said, knock it off, put the right picture up. So hopefully they'll do that sooner than later. My experience with Amazon is they smile and nod their head and say, sure, and they do nothing. So now we get into a minor bit of editorializing about an Amazon policy. So again, I may have mentioned that I ordered this guitar on March the 31st. I could have hopped over to eBay and got it for like $152 with $160 shipping, and I thought, nah. Then the value of this guitar starts disappearing. Although, based on this particular guitar, $300 would be a reasonable price for this guitar. So the fact that Amazon was able to offer it for $182 or $184 with free shipping, but the caveat was you had to wait, and you didn't know how long you were going to wait. But I have often said that delayed gratification can be very sweet. So once you order a guitar in a pre-order mode and you just put it in the back of your mind, they don't charge your credit card, but you should put the money aside, because once they ship it, bang, it goes on your credit card. So it ships 4 months later. I get the notification last Monday, or this Monday. And the same day they popped this guitar up for $28 less. Now I realize $28 is not the end of the world, but damn it, it's the principle. So of course I get this guitar today and I call Amazon and say, hey, that's just really, I'm a good customer, I'm a Prime member, I buy stuff from you. I only complain when there's something really to complain about. How about if you do me a solid and refund the $28? Oh no, we can't do it. It's our policy. Well, I hedged my bets, because knowing that this one was coming and seeing that they dropped the price $28, I thought, okay, well, knowing how Amazon works, I'll buy the one for $28 less as well. So I have another one coming in a few days. And of course, Amazon's policy is they'd rather you, rather than refund the difference, and again, this is not price matching for someone else, this is within their company. They lower the price. They would rather you box it up, send it back on their dime, and buy the other one for the reduced price, which they will sell to you and send to you with free shipping. And then this guitar goes back, waste time, waste energy, waste money, waste resources. Now it's considered an open box guitar, so they can't sell it for the full price. I mean, whoever at Amazon made this policy is just absolutely nuts. Anyways, that's my 2 minutes of editorializing, but back to what really matters. For the price, even at $184, if you get a nice one, and again, my experience with IYV guitars has been really good, except for the IJZ. It tended to be the one that just sort of, if you got lucky, you got a nice one. If you didn't, you got a bad one. But all the other guitars I've gotten have been really nice. There's a few finish issues. Who cares? It plays fine. And again, I'd be lying to you if I said, hey, for $180 you're going to get a Rickenbacker. You're not. But you are going to get a fun guitar, and it does sound a bit different. I guess, again, I know nothing about this. I think these are called toaster pickups, and I think it's because it looks like you're looking down on a toaster. So that's my guess at whoever came up with that name. This guitar has not been dialed in at all. It doesn't really need much dialing in, but I haven't checked whether the neck has too much relief, or if the pickup heights are proper, or, you know, the action's a little high, but I don't mind, and you can lower it. I'm not sure how you do that. There's interesting, again, very Rickenbacker-ish design for that. But out of the box, it's playable. And I played it for a good hour and a half, and again, in tune, and there's no grittiness on the top of the frets. There was a little bit, but it went away instantly. Some people like their frets polished, shiny. I don't care if they're shiny, I just don't like grittiness, and the grittiness just went away. Supposedly the fretboard is Jatoba, whatever that is. It's nice. Looks like rosewood to me. Again, it's a nice guitar. So I highly recommend it if you're looking for something different. You know, and again, at the price point, if you wanted to do a few modifications, it gives you some room to work with. But the fit and the finish on this guitar is just really nice. I mean, again, the typical little finish flaws that you might find on guitars costing 2, 3, 4, or 5 times as much, no big deal. You know, the key things are there's no cracks up here on the headstock. The guitar seems, the neck is well seated. I don't know what the scale length is on this guitar. I put it in a 335 case and there was like this much space between the headstock and the top of the case. So I don't know if this is a shorter scale guitar. I haven't measured it. I would say it's a comfortable C profile neck. Not that I know anything about that, but just based on my experience. I would guess to say that the nut width is about 43 millimeters because it doesn't feel overly thin. It could be 42, 43. I'm guessing the radius is probably 12 just because it feels like a flat radius. Anyways, that is my impression of this guitar. I think it's a good deal. Someone on one of the forums said that they got like 300 of these in, and I'm guessing they were all pre-orders because they were only available on Monday. And that didn't last very long. I mean, again, I ordered mine thinking it actually said it was out of stock. And then 20 minutes later, I get a shipping notification. So, who knows? So, I'm waiting to hear back from Amazon. If they don't want to do what's fair, more than likely this one's going to go back, which will be good news for someone else, because I can tell you, if you get this guitar, unless it's just a guitar you don't like, but I can't see that you'll have any complaints about the quality. And of course, I will wipe it down, repackage it, and yeah, and unfortunately it has to go all the way back to Hebron, Kentucky, and then they'll probably put it online and sell it for a few bucks less. And so there you go. But I'm going to wait for the other one to come and pick the best of the two. And do I feel guilty for doing that? No, because Amazon's policy is stupid. It's a stupid policy. I can see them not wanting to match other people's prices, and that's fine. But they should match their own for at least 30 days. So, one other interesting comment, of all the IYV guitars I've gotten, I've never gotten one with this giant on both sides, made in Vietnam, Amazon USA. It said that this was carton 11 of 11, so I don't know if they just got 11 of these guitars in. I don't know. I'm not really sure. I have no idea. But anyways, if this guitar does go back, I do say to the person that gets it, you will like it. I would tell you the serial number, but I think they're generic serial numbers, because this one is, well, I'll tell you what it is. It's 1221-20001. So according to this, according to their way of doing things, this was made in December of 2022, and it's number 1. But on my IJZs, I had multiple ones that had exactly the same serial number, so I don't think the serial number matters. I know Grote did the same thing. Grote was just pumping out the same serial number, which seems sort of weird. If you're going to put a serial number on something, at least pretend. What's interesting about light, let's turn on the light here. Because the camera, yeah, see, with some light it shows better. Without the light, it seems like it's a lot lighter, the amber part. The amber is a nice dark amber. And again, it is the 3-color sunburst. It goes from the black to the red to the amber. And it's done really nicely. There's nice wood grain on it. I mean, again, nothing dramatic, certainly not, flame maple or anything. But it's nice. Very pleasant to look at. I don't mind that there's not the traditional second pick guard on Rickenbackers. I suppose you could add one. No need to. Yeah, it feels good. It feels comfortable. I like this little cover here. People who like to palm mute tend to not like that. I don't know if that thing can come off or not. I don't palm mute much, so it doesn't make a difference to me. Anyways, one more time. July the 29th, 2023. This is the IYV IRK 300 with the 3-color sunburst. Nice guitar. Good value. You know, like you can see, the guy spray painting it wasn't really on top of it here. But again, that stuff just at the end of the day does not matter to me. Playability, tone, sort of a generic tone. But again, I wouldn't judge this guitar until I put new strings on it, because I have a feeling these strings have just been sitting on this guitar, and it's been in shipping containers and trucks. And I think I mentioned early, this came from Goodyear, Arizona. Shipped out on Monday, and it was 116 degrees there. So you can imagine this is in the back of a truck. The ambient air temperature is 116 degrees. Lord knows what it's like in the back of a truck. And doesn't seem any worse for the wear. You know, poly finishes. Woo! I don't know what a nitro finish would do with that kind of heat extreme. Fortunately, it slowly made its way up here to Great Falls, Montana, and you know, a couple nights ago it was in Butte, Montana, and it's summer up here, obviously, and it's 90 during the day, but it cools off in the evening. So by the time it got delivered here, it did not, you know, it wasn't like flame on. Anyways, we will be back in a day or two with the tale of the sister guitar. But yeah, I think this may be the first video for this guitar. And if not, I must have missed out, because I looked and I looked and I looked, and I was hoping someone else would put one up, and nobody did. And this one's fairly long-winded, and I apologize for going on and on and on. So anyways, hope everyone's well. Stay cool wherever you are, especially if you're down in Phoenix, New Mexico, Texas. Good Lord, how do you people live down there? Woo-hoo. Okay, thank you very much. Off we go.